All right, welcome everyone. This is an event that we usually do in the Crypto Garden, which is called the Weekly Harvest, and we usually discuss what we've done in the past week, and then we discuss what we'll do in the next week and try to gather our experiences and share them so we can all be better players in this crypto market. Okay, so this time I think I should do something a little bit different, and I'm gonna do it public here on the Crypto Garden channel so everyone can get this experience. So during the past week, as I've been doing ever since Bitcoin fell down from like 57K, I've been just DCAing into Bitcoin and not focusing too much on altcoins. Okay, and I strongly recommend you to do the same. And I've explained the reasons like over and over again in the Crypto Garden. So, okay, now let's look at what I said the last weekly harvest and what I think is going to happen in the next one. So here is my screen. You guys can see this. This is the prediction that I made in the middle of last week on April 1st. But just last week, I think that was the 27th. So around here, I thought that what Bitcoin was going to do is head down to around 42K and then head up to 48. It did the exact opposite. So it had up to 48 and now it's heading down. And then in the middle of the week, I did my prediction that Bitcoin was going to range sideways, which it is currently doing, and then finally drop down to 42. Okay. I think that because, well, first things first, the moving averages, even though they are trending up, Bitcoin needed a correction ever since it got this much far away from it. Okay, from the 200-day whole moving average and the 55-day whole moving average, and that usually means that a correction is to come. Okay, it cannot be too much time until it retested at support. Secondly, the RSI here, this middle band of the RSI, the price for it is around 42K also. OBV, even though it's been trending up for about 9 days now, I think it still needs to withstand the power of a few down days, a few red candles, if you may. And finally, I would say the volume profile shows us the point of control around 42K, which is also another confluence in technicals. Okay, if we look at the long short ratio and the aggregate liquidation indicators here on CoinAlyze, you'll see that the selling pressure on Bitcoin has restarted ever since a bunch of longs were accumulated here. And that, doesn't mean that we need to go down, that it's like a deterministic thing, but it does introduce some downward pressure. Okay, going up is not as easy as we can see here. As soon as it goes up, it goes a little bit down, like right after. And right now the long short ratio is at 1.731, so there are almost 2 times as many longs as there are shorts. Okay, also we haven't seen that many long liquidations ever since, I would say, around here. Okay, when we liquidated about $30 million worth of longs. So based on that, I think there is some downward pressure, and we can even see that in the buy sell pressure indicator. Let me just toggle off the red and the green lines, and you can see that it's negative, meaning that there is more selling volume than buying volume. Okay, now finally, if we look at the liquidations map, first things first, I want to show you the liquidation map for just the 31st of March. And what we could see when Bitcoin was hovering around 45K, so it was about the moment that I did this prediction here. Bitcoin was hovering about 45,700, okay? And we can see that it had a big spike around 45,100. And ever since then, we can see that that spike was cleared. Okay, so all the liquidity from 45,200 to the price now has been cleared, and a new cluster has risen from 46K to about 47K. So what I would say, based on the liquidations map and all this, is that we don't go up too much. We're gonna basically range in between, the highs here and the lows here for a while. and eventually you're going to head down to 42K because there's a lot of technical confluence here at 42K. And we also have, you know, all of this liquidity to the downside, and who knows what it will look like once we, you know, liquidate all those peoples at around 44,300. Okay. Finally, the short-term holder realized price, which I mentioned a few times. You can see right now it's at around 46K 200. It's a little bit outdated since this site is for free and it doesn't, you know, update every day, but still it gives us a good reference, even because this doesn't, you know, change that much too often. So yeah, if we go down too much and we don't manage to climb up quickly, I think that is a good sign that a longer term downtrend is to come. So yeah, I will keep my prediction from the middle of the week that we range around these levels for a bit, and then we finally head to around 42K. So let me just place a new prediction. And mind you, this is not, you know, the prediction is not accurate in time frame. It's just to give you an idea of what I think we'll see. All right. Now let's look at the altcoins I looked at last week. So first, I looked at VET. Let me see, where is VET? Let's do by name, sort by name. VET. I thought VET was going to go down a little bit. It didn't. It kind of followed Bitcoin. So yeah, that's it. If we look at the long short ratio for VET just now, let's see. What we can see is that the long short ratio is still too high. As I mentioned in the Bitcoin bit, what you can see is that, you know, a high long short ratio doesn't mean that it cannot go up, but it's not too easy. Okay, so you see that as soon as it goes up, and this is 4-hour candle, so a lower time frame, you can see that it heads down for a while, goes up and then heads down for a while as people are distributing, and you can see even the volume has fallen off. So I don't know, it's not looking too good for VET right now, I would say, but I don't want to make any more predictions on it. From ZIL, I think I deserve a pretty big trophy on this because I mentioned that it would go sideways for a bit, and it did for a couple days, and then it would end up at around the level of support that it hits during March to May. And it's basically what it did. It extended a little bit, but you can see it's basically just wicks, and it's been correcting since, and I almost nailed it, like for less than a cent. I got it wrong. So I think I would give myself a little trophy for this one. Okay, and the trophies on the weekly harvest usually are these martini glasses. Next, we looked at Cake, and Cake has been surprising me a lot, especially because I still think there is a lot of downward pressure on Cake. But the thing is, looking at it, you know, with a different perspective, you'll see that it's below the July lows right now. So it was really undervalued, I would say. And this means that even though this is a nice move up, if you were an investor like from basically any point in the past, unless you bought the exact bottom, you're not in a big profit. Okay, so still, I think even though this move is nice, it doesn't mean too much in the longer term trends, and we'll see what happens. So let's do a volume profile here, volume profile 2, and let's do from this whole period of accumulation down here. And you'll see that there was a lot of volume here, and it served as resistance here, served as resistance here, and then finally broke through, and we can see it moving up. So let's extend this volume profile and see some potential resistance points for Cake right now. So let's get it all the way back here. So we get this high and that high and everything, and we'll see that there is some resistance around here. The next resistance I would say is around here at $12. The biggest resistance. There is some minor resistance at around $11 here, and then I would say some more around here, $15, and we'll see what happens when you get to this point. So with altcoins right now, if you're trading them, I'm not. This is just a disclosure. I'm not trading altcoins, but if you're trading them, I would advise you to do so like reactively. So instead of trying to predict the move of an altcoin, do reactively. So you see it's gone up, take profits on it. You see it's a little bit undervalued. So below here, maybe start accumulating some positions if you want to do it. I personally prefer not to. Okay. Next, we looked at Avex. So let me see. Avex. Which chart did I use? Avex. Wasn't it Coinbase? I think it was. Yeah, it was Coinbase. So yeah, I thought Avex was going down too. It didn't. It kind of followed Bitcoin also. So yeah, that's it. Technically, like using the technicals, we can see that there's still some downward pressure because the RSI is too high right now. It's almost in the upper Bollinger Band. And volatility, even though it's not extremely high at 71%, it's still a high number, right? OBV is trending up nicely. Let's look at the Binance chart because it has a little bit more history so we can see it more properly. And yeah, OBV has some like a nice upward trend. We see very expressive new highs here, but the RSI does introduce some downward pressure. And here, funnily enough, the volatility is a little bit lower. So I would say that there is some downward pressure on Avex, especially because Bitcoin is starting to move down, but it's not as strong as Bitcoin's is. Okay, so yeah, let me see. Let's do a volume profile from this low to now, just so we can see some potential support and resistance points. So the point of control is right here at around $86. And I would say that's the most likely level for us to hit. It's basically the same chart with Bitcoin. So I think we had sideways for a little bit on AVAX. And then we hit down. Okay. Let's do Rune. Finally, I think the last chart that I watched was Rune. So where is it? Rune. Here it is. So yeah, basically same thing that I said. This one, it did the highs on the point that I made, not the weekly close, but still close enough. I thought it was going to go sideways for a couple of days, and it did, and then it hit up. So I'm going to give myself a trophy on this one too. So this week, beyond AVAX, I think it would be nice to look at a very specific case, which is here audio, and we can see a big move up. Let me just delete this Fibonacci drawing, which is a little bit outdated. I don't look at the audio chart in a while. So, and we can see that, you know, the OBV is making a new high here, but the RSI is way above the Bollinger Band. So I would personally not enter. And if you have a sane mind, you wouldn't enter a coin that has just gone up 24% in a day. Okay. So when you see spikes like this, and I want to emphasize this very much, spikes are for selling only, okay? Don't take it as, oh, this coin is going to go to the moon now. You can see the spike here, right? On November 23rd, and you can see this spike here on November 18th. These spikes, they are for selling, okay? They are not for buying. It does not mean that the coin is going to go to the moon, and you should not buy these coins, okay? So what I think audio will do, if I, may get the credit of a prediction based on all of this, it seems that it will at least hang around sideways for a while. And as people start to distribute and exit the positions, start to head down at around 120, I would say, basically down to this point right here. Okay. So we had AVAX, we had audio. Let's do some more trending coins. So let's do ZIL again. No, ZIL, I already did ZIL. Let's do Luna. Luna has been also trending up nicely. Now, Luna is a little bit of a different story because it's a slower trend and a more healthy trend. Okay, so, and it's basically at a new all-time high. So what I would think Luna is going to do right now, as it's been doing many times in the past, is retest this RSI middle band line, which corresponds to the price of the RSI being on this kind of magenta line here. So the volatility is low. It hasn't tested it in a while, so I think it can go near it again. So possibly somewhere around here and then continue heading up. It's been a nice uptrend, and let's see if it is maintained. Looking at more traditional technical analysis, I think we can even draw a little channel here, right? You can even draw a channel here. And you'll see that it's basically going to follow the mid band of this channel, I would think. Okay, so lastly, the one thing that I wanted to mention to you is if you want to sign up to the Crypto Garden and, get more of these events and, more charts and stuff that we were watching, just join the garden at thecryptogarden.io. I'm gonna paste the link on the screen for you guys. And yeah, that's it. Thank you for watching, and goodbye.